Warning. Alone Against the Static is a horror scenario and explores themes of grief, isolation, relationships, and heartbreak. This is recommended for mature audiences only. Welcome to the castle, everybody. My name is Alex, and I am your player, your GM, your host for A Table for One, a solo actual play podcast. And today, I'll be playing through Call of Cthulhu's Alone Against the Static, a solo 1990s adventure beyond signal range. Alone Against the Static is a Call of Cthulhu scenario designed to be played by a single person, where you are both the keeper and the player. You take on the role of either Alex or Charlie, a young couple who are vacationing at a secluded forest cabin in South Dakota's Black Hills. The collapse of their relationship and a creeping horror growing in the woods around them are the central focus of the adventure. The adventure is set during the 1990s. Unfortunately, it takes place far out of signal range. Don't rely on modern conveniences to protect you from danger. Deadly forces to whom a few decades mean nothing are lurking in the shadowy woods around you. You can attempt this adventure as many times as you like. Each playthrough allows you to select different choices or even a different character. With each and every new path you take, you'll discover more secrets hidden away among the pines. Make good use of the tools at your disposal if you hope to survive this very unfortunate vacation. So right off the bat, we have two characters afforded to us. We have Alex and Charlie. I'm going to actually play as Alex this time around. He is a nurse. He was born in Pierre, South Dakota. He has a 60 in strength, a 70 in con, 60 in dex, 65 in int, 65 in size, 60 in power, 75 in app, 70 education, 13 hit points, and 12 magic points for what it's worth. He's also got a score of 60 in sanity. He is good with a few skills, including credit rating, dodge, fighting, first aid, intimidate, English, listen, natural world, navigate, persuade, psychology, biology and chemistry, spot hidden, and stealth. And the only weapon he has at this moment is Brawl, which is locked in at 55. Deals 1d3 damage plus his damage bonus, which is a d4. Now, this is a rather unique solo game, I would say, in that not only is it solo, but it's more of like a choose-your-own adventure. It's not open-ended at all, like some of the other adventures that I might have reviewed on the channel. This is straight up, you go to a point in the book, you read it, you decide what you're going to do next. You might roll, you might not, and then you move on to the next number. I've only really done one series like this before, and I'm actually really excited to come back to it. Only this time around, I don't have to keep track of things like direction in a dungeon or anything of that nature, at least as far as I know. It's just a simple, straight up, read the number, read the passage, do what it says, and then move on. And so this might be a long one. It might not be. But I'm actually really excited to see where this goes. I'll be using the rule set from the starter set for Call of Cthulhu. So if I'm missing any rules, which I don't think I will be, the starter set does a pretty good job of including all of the rules as far as I know. But I will be using those rules, mainly because it's not as heavy, and I can actually keep it right here next to me. So without further ado, let's dive in to Alone Against the Static. Somewhere in the forgotten wilds where pine needles carpet the forest floor, something stirs. Wind whips around the Black Hills to places where bears, rabbits, and birds never visit. The trees of the surrounding forest shiver. Beneath the moist earth, something wakes. Shifting from beneath the soil, it erupts in silence from the ground. Its emergence reverberates throughout the wild. Far off, a wolf howls in mourning for what will soon pass. It pulls itself from the darkness and breathes. It blinks. So we've already taken Alex as our chosen investigator, so we need to determine what our luck score is going to be. And to do that, we're going to roll 3d6 and multiply the result by 5. And since we are starting off as Alex, we're going to go right into prompt number 1. But first, I gotta roll 3d6. I rolled a 12, and so when I multiply that by 5, I get 60, so our luck score is actually 60. That's not bad, I don't think. Considering that it says default 50, I think I'm in the clear here. Damn it! Charlie growls, struggling to fold an impractically large map over your car's steering wheel and avoid veering off-road into a tree at the same time. Can you just let me hold the map? You ask. No, I can do this just fine, Charlie says, then slams the brakes to round another tight bend. It is late afternoon on a rural back road deep within the Black Hills of South Dakota. The sun is high, but the air is cold. You've seen nothing but pine trees and 2 narrow winding lanes for over an hour. Your car's radio is getting weaker. It splutters out a Neil Diamond song laced with static. We're gonna choose to keep offering help. We're off of I-90, remember? You say. After a few moments of sulking, Charlie mutters a response. I remember. You reach over. Here, let me help with that. No! Charlie yanks the map away. Alex, just let me, okay? You put your hands up defensively and roll your eyes. Charlie drives on determinedly for a few more minutes before spotting a tiny, unpaved road cutting deeper into the forest. Charlie pulls into it, and the two of you weave through the trees in silence. Make a psychology roll to gauge how Charlie is feeling. Failure. Charlie's sulking. This vacation is turning out exactly like you thought it would. Charlie always insists on driving, gets lost, and then refuses to ask for help. The weekend is shaping up to be a nightmare. Anyways, she says, it's not far now. Charlie drives deeper into the forest. The little road you're on winds erratically, dipping up and down as it weaves between the hills. Above you, thick gray clouds obscure the sunlight. Soon, the sky gets lost in the branches of pine trees. You feel the cold seeping in from outside. After a few more minutes, a few more turns, and a few miles travel deeper into the forest, the sun sets. Your car's headlights cut into the darkness, revealing the road ahead just a few feet at a time. Eventually, the lights drift over the front of a cabin, reflecting off 2 windows on either side of a front door, which seem to stare back at you, ominously. The car stops and the headlights shut off. Finally, you sigh, and step out onto the gravel driveway. As you walk around to the trunk to help with the suitcases, the cold night air seizes around you like a vise. Are you hungry? Charlie asks while you try to keep from shivering. Make a con roll. If you fail, check touched by cold on the log sheet. Failure. We're going to say that we're hungry because I imagine that, driving on the road for hours at a time and getting lost, I would certainly be hungry. You nod. Sure. Hamburgers? Hamburgers it is. You take a brown grocery bag from the car's trunk, grab your suitcase, and walk to the cabin door. Charlie opens it up and steps inside. You follow, closing the door behind you to keep the chill out. The cabin isn't very big. It's just one central room with a double bed, a chest of drawers, and a corner set up to serve as a kitchen. There's no microwave. Both the oven and stove use gas. You see 2 doors. One goes to the rear of the cabin, while another leads to a small bathroom. You just know it's going to be freezing in there. On the wall opposite the bed is a TV and VCR unit sitting on top of a cupboard. The whole cabin is lit by muted yellow bulbs. It's not dark, but it's not quite light either. I'll be in the John, Charlie says, then steps inside the small bathroom and shuts the door. You are left alone. You put your suitcase on the bed, take out a few essentials, then move on to the kitchen and unpack your groceries. There is a gas fridge and icebox that, judging by the steady and not at all soft hum emanating from it, was installed sometime in the 1970s. We're actually going to get started for dinner. I mean, why wait around for somebody to get ready in the bathroom when we can just, get started ourselves? Plus, I imagine that Alex is going to be quite a good cook, just like me in real life. And so, yeah, we're going to definitely take up the duties. By the way, can I just point out, do we Americans say John? When we're going to the bathroom? Is that... I'm pretty sure... Well, I don't know, actually. That might be an American thing. I've never actually heard anybody say, I'm going to the John. Usually it's like, I'm going to the toilet or I'm taking a piss or something like that. But, yeah, I've not really heard that in real life. Interesting. But okay, let's cook some dinner. You unpack ingredients for hamburgers. You find matches in a drawer, hold a lit one to the stove's gas burner, and turn the dial. Nothing happens. Damn thing. You ignore the front left burner and use the front right instead. It lights up super quick. You've got patties frying and are chopping tomatoes when you hear the toilet flush. Charlie emerges from the bathroom soon after, sighing contentedly. Whew, sorry. I've been holding on to that one since we left Pierre. How charming, you mutter. Charlie comes up behind you and wraps their arms around your waist. You feel her breath on your neck, then the brush of a kiss against your cheek. I love you, Charlie whispers. Now, this one's actually a really interesting choice. We can either respond lovingly or we can change the subject. And given the nature that their relationship is strained, I'm actually going to go ahead and say that we're going to try to change the subject here, just to kind of see what happens. Maybe something dramatic. How do you want your burger? Medium, I guess. Okay, thanks. You stay in the kitchen. Charlie hovers uncertainly for a moment, then walks away and flops down on the bed. I'm so glad we're here. Me too. I think it'll be really good for us, you know? Yeah. Like Dr. O'Brien told us, Charlie says, staring at the cabin's warped reflection in the mirror-black TV screen. Getting away from everything to just focus on us will be great. I think it could be really healing. And with that, we get to check Broken Heart on the log sheet. But here's what we will do. We are actually going to try to reassure Charlie, so we'll try to make it up. Yeah, you say with a faint smile. It'll be great. I know it. A few minutes pass, then you serve up the burgers. You and Charlie sit and eat silently. You find the cabin's nearby window strange. Outside, it's so dark that all you can see is your own reflection. It's like looking in a mirror. What do you want to do tonight? You ask, mouth half full. Charlie raises an eyebrow. You roll your eyes. Seriously. Well, you want to go on a hike tomorrow, right? You nod. How about we just fire up a movie and take it easy? Charlie gestures at the TV. We can either agree or complain, and I'm not really in the mood for, fighting when what is supposed to be a relaxing night in the mountains. Wait, yeah, I'm pretty sure South Dakota has mountains. So we're going to agree with that. We're going to watch a little bit of TV. Sure, you say. Charlie grins, then takes the dishes and heads over to the sink and cleans them. You walk over to the TV unit. It's a relatively cheap model from the late 1980s, sitting on top of a dusty VCR player. You switch both on and open a cabinet beneath them, wondering what videos Charlie's brother and his wife left behind. You sure like scary movies, you say, looking over the titles. 15 different tapes, and you're sure that covers pretty much every major slasher film of the last decade. God, none of these look good. There's not even a single comedy? Charlie asks from the kitchen. Make a spot hidden roll. Oh, okay. Interesting. I mean, how hard can looking at 15 different VHSs can be? And surprisingly, that's also a failure. We've gotten 3 failures in a row so far in this playthrough. Our chances of surviving do not look good. You take out the tapes and go through them one by one, rolling your eyes and performatively gagging at each cover as you go. Charlie walks over and joins you. Maybe we should have stopped by a Blockbuster on the way. Oh my gosh, remember those things back in the day? Blockbuster, Video, Hollywood? Oh man, okay. You're telling me these covers all look cheap. Think they're bootlegged? Probably, Charlie shrugs. I could have sworn he said there was more than just horror. He said they watched something that sounded like a chick flick last time they came up. Maybe it's still in the VCR? Charlie leans over and presses the eject button on the machine. There is a whirring of mechanical internals, then the unit spits out a tape. Aha! Charlie says. Is it blank? Nothing written on it. But they're bootlegs, right? You shrug. Whatever. Rewind it and we'll take our chances. Can't be worse than any of these. Well, this is another interesting choice. We can watch the movie right away or get ready for bed first. Does that mean like brushing our teeth and like using the bathroom and stuff like that? Then again, I don't even do that in real life. Like, I wouldn't brush my teeth just to watch a movie, is what I'm trying to say. So I think we're just going to watch the movie right away. You flop onto the bed and stretch your legs. Charlie rewinds the tape, takes the VCR remote, then lays down next to you. Cozy? Yep. All right. Wild card movie is a go. Charlie smiles, then hits play. Somehow, I got a feeling that this VHS tape is going to be like Ring. And so I swear if there's like a little girl that pops out of the movie, I'm definitely going to push Charlie in front and hightail it out of there first. When the film begins, the screen is black. There is a faint music, but no opening credits. Then, the screen cuts to blurry footage that was clearly recorded on a handheld camera. Is this one of Mark's home movies? You ask. Charlie laughs, then reaches for the remote. Oh, wow, I'm sorry. Wait a second. That looks familiar, you say, pointing at the TV. Charlie hesitates. On screen, you see a wall of tall forest trees. Leaves and pine needles crunch under the feet of whoever's filming. The camera pans across the landscape, creating a blur of greens and browns. Suddenly, you spot Mark's cabin standing alone in its little clearing. A dull red sedan is parked out front. That's Julie's car, Charlie says. This must have been after their wedding. The camera is shaky. Wind rushes against the microphone, causing a brief flurry of horrid scrapping from the speakers. There's movement near the red car. A woman, Julie, is taking bags from the trunk. She's smiling. Yeah, this is at least 6 years ago. Julie turns as the cabin door opens. Mark steps out, walks over, and takes one of the bags from her. They smile and exchange unheard words. You sit bolt upright. What the hell? What's wrong? It's only Mark. Yeah? So who's filming? Charlie stammers and blinks. On the screen, Mark and Julie go inside and close the door behind them. The camera zooms in towards the window. The picture is a grainy blur of colors. You see movement in the cabin. The camera zooms even closer. Then, harsh wind picks up and howls through the speakers. The image smashes to a slurry of loud static. White noise booms out into the room. The sound drills into your skull. You feel like it's going to make your head explode. We need to make a sanity roll. Okay. If we fail, we do lose one sanity, and we get to check unsettled on the log sheet. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and roll for sanity. Another failure on our part, of course. So we are going to lose one sanity. Now we can either cover our ears or we can scramble for the dial and turn it down. And I think that's probably going to be the best option for us. I would imagine that we're just going to get up, try to turn down the volume because covering our ears isn't really going to do anything in the long run. So we're definitely going to try to turn down the volume. You dart from the bed, grimacing at the ear-splitting noise. You switch the dial and kill the TV. Charlie is sitting on the bed with her hands clamped over her ears like a dope. Sorry, it's only a remote for the VCR. There's no volume control. What the hell was that? You ask angrily as you step away and slump back onto the bed. Charlie shrugs. I don't know. Mark and Julie came out here with someone else? Charlie laughs. I don't really want to think about what my brother and his wife might get up to while they're out here. You roll your eyes. That was creepy. It was like a peeping Tom. Well, we know it's not. Charlie gestures to the TV cabinet. Why would Mark and Julie have the tape? If Broken Heart is checked on the log sheet, you cannot stay calm. And so we're going to get frustrated with Charlie. You sigh. Whatever. You always know best, right? Charlie frowns. What's that supposed to mean? You remember the car ride up, the way Charlie was reading the map while driving, refusing your help, and getting lost over and over. Never mind, you say, then roll over in bed. Can you get the light? You don't want to watch the movie anymore? No, you say, and pull the blanket tight around yourself. I just want to sleep. Charlie sighs. Fine. You feel the bed shift as they stand. I just think that... The TV set blares to life again. It bellows static throughout the cabin. Thunderous scraping and coughing bounces from the walls. You thrash and cover your ears. Charlie swears, but you can hardly hear it. The noise builds to a frenetic peak. It's almost unbearable. Then, just as quickly as it began, the noise stops and the TV falls silent. All the lights in the cabin go dead. The power is off. And we get to mark blame game for that one. Well, our vacation is definitely starting off to a really good point, isn't it? Charlie, you ask in the darkness. Yeah? What was that? Power's out, I think. You hear scrambling in the darkness as Charlie shuffles along the floor, one hand touching the wall. She flicks the light switch several times. I thought this place was on solar power. Well, I guess solar power still runs out? Is there a backup or anything? I don't know. I guess I'll have to head into town and call Mark in the morning. Well, that's just great. You pull your legs to your chest. Okay, whatever. You're not used to this level of dark. The city doesn't get dark like this. You raise your hand in front of your face. You can't even see its outline. You feel anxiety rising in your chest. If either Broken Heart or Blame Game is checked on the log sheet, you cannot lean on Charlie for support. So we're going to move on. This cabin sucks. You shift around on the lumpy bed and try to get comfortable. Charlie joins you before long. The bed frame creaks when she settles onto it. Babe? She says. What? Are you going to sleep? What else am I supposed to do? The power's out and we're in the middle of the woods. Okay, sorry. Charlie rolls over. At least you think she does. It's hard to tell in the dark. After a few moments, she speaks again. Must just be an old shoddy TV. I think Mark has had it since the 80s. I don't care. Can we just make sure the power's back tomorrow? Yeah, I'll do everything I can. Fine. Good night then. Good night. Charlie doesn't stay awake long. You hear her breathing slow quickly and fade into the gentle rumble of sleep. For you, sleep comes much later. The creaking of pines, the howl of cold wind, and other strange and unidentifiable sounds echo through the black hills around you. The anxiety in your chest burns as you lie silently in the dark. It's a relief when you finally fall asleep. And we get to mark nyctophobe on the log sheet. Man, I just gotta say, bro, you should get some earplugs for when you sleep. It has been a life changer for me, personally. Especially since I'm a really light sleeper. I think my wife actually bought some for me for my birthday one year, and not a night goes by when I don't use them. It is just a godsend. When you wake in the morning, you are alone. You stir in the bed and sit up. Babe? There's no answer. The only sound is the wind outside, carrying with it a gentle morning bird song. You get up and cross to the kitchen. There is a note taped to the chunky refrigerator, which is written in familiar handwriting. Sorry again. Just want this weekend to be special. Gone to town to get help fixing power. Back ASAP. Love you. You set the note down. Looks like you have a few hours to yourself. We can either eat breakfast or go for a brisk walk. And actually, that's a really interesting one. But I think if we're going to go for a brisk walk, we're going to do it on an empty stomach. At least that's what I do. At least because I'm training for a 10K. And so if I'm running in the morning, I definitely don't want to eat, or at least not a heavy breakfast. So we're going to go for a brisk walk first. Let's get in shape. Because you never know, we might have to rely on our constitution or stamina to run away from something. Outside, the air is fresh. The sun is warm and the sky is mostly clear. You fill your lungs with the scent of moist soil and pine trees. You take a few steps forward and peer down the driveway. It weaves away into the woods. The trees are so thick here that you'd probably have a better chance listening out for cars than looking for them. You turn and head down a walking trail just by the cabin. The earth has been worn smooth by the hiking shoes of innumerable visiting families. The forest grows thicker around you as you walk. Unseen critters skitter past in the underbrush. Birds move through the branches above, calling out and making pine needles rustle. You come across a blueberry bush just by the trail. Yeah. Stop and collect berries or continue your walk. And let me just say, there is never a time where picking up berries or anything that's unidentifiable and then eating it is going to ever be good. We're going to continue. The nature surrounding you eats away at the stress layered into your being. You feel yourself truly smile for the first time in weeks. It happens without any effort on your part. It feels good. You close your eyes and turn your face to the sky. The fresh air and sunlight kiss your skin. It's glorious. Off to the left, you hear running water. You open your eyes and look toward the source of the sound. It's coming just off the trail you've been walking along. So we can either investigate the sound or stick to the trail. Does that mean that we're going to go to the water source? Because that's the only sound that I think I would hear. And I gotta say, from experience, you always stick to the trail. You never go off the trail. And especially if it's for like a national park or anything like that, they absolutely hate it when you go off the trail because it can actually disrupt the ecosystem. So we're gonna preserve nature in this instance, and we're gonna stick to the trail. Also, I don't want to like sprain my ankle and get stranded out in the woods or drown in a river or whatever. So, yeah. It's time to keep walking. You refocus your mind and head determinedly down the trail, farther down the black hills and deeper into the forest. It's a pleasant hike. Sunlight filters through pine branches and casts up dancing shadows all about you in the cool morning air. After a half hour or so, you feel nature calling and step behind a tree to pee. You are fumbling with your clothes when you spot something. Ahead, off the trail and nestled in a narrow valley, is a dilapidated wooden shed. Oh, that's an interesting one. I thought there was going to be like somebody watching us. Also, yeah, don't use the bathroom in the woods. At least unless you bring like a, what do they call it? A trolley? A shovel? A spade or whatever? Because, yeah, you're not supposed to leave that stuff laying around. But hey, at least it wasn't number 2, so... we're actually going to explore the shed. I think, like, if anything, that would be the thing that gets my curiosity. Well, actually, it did say dilapidated, so that means it's probably abandoned. I would definitely not explore a shed or a cabin that supposedly has people in it. So if it's dilapidated and nothing's going on there, I'll go ahead and explore that. You step through the small clearing where the shed leans lopsided against a rocky, moss-ridden mountain wall. It's not large, maybe half the size of Mark and Julie's cabin. It's made entirely of wood. A rotting piece of pine serves as a makeshift door that's only just still hanging from the frame. The place looks like nobody has been here in years. You step closer to the shed and put your hand against the door. It swings in slowly and easily. The shed is dark inside. You see the faint, shadowy blotches of furniture hidden in the gloom. If nyctophobe is checked, the darkness makes you nervous, and we get to move on. It's dark in there. Really dark. If Charlie was here, you'd know she'd make fun of you for being a little scared of the dark. What of it, though? What's wrong with that? So you're sometimes scared of the dark. Well, this little shed is dark, so you don't want to go inside. Is that so bad? Make a sanity roll. Okay, another sanity. So this is our chance to redeem ourselves with our first success. And the success we definitely got. It's just a regular check. 14 versus 60, awesome. You steel yourself and gaze resolutely at the foreboding shed. So what? It's dark inside. But outside it's bright as hell, and it's so small you'll never be more than 2 steps away from the door anyways. So we can either enter the shed or go back to our hike. And I feel like since we've actually rolled a sanity and we've actually passed, it only makes sense that we would go inside. So we're gonna go inside. The only light in the shed comes from the open door and a few cracks in the uneven weatherboard walls. There's no windows. It's like this place was designed to be gloomy. You see a small workbench, a wall-mounted cupboard, and a stack of cardboard boxes. The rest of the furniture is mildewy and unremarkable. The floorboards creak beneath you as you walk across the room. So we can either search the cupboard, look over the bench, rifle through the boxes, or leave the shed. I think we're going to go ahead and look at the bench, the workbench. The bench is laden with a collection of tools. None have been touched in years. They are covered in greasy dust. You see a dull gray hammer. Perhaps it could be useful? There's also what looks like a specialized miniature screwdriver set. Ooh, you can either take the hammer or examine the screwdriver set. Interesting. I think we're definitely going to go ahead and take the hammer. The hammer is rusty and the leather grip is crumbling, but it's still heavy. That's all that matters, right? You take the hammer and tuck it away. And we get to mark in case of emergency on the log sheet. And what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and examine the screwdriver set while we're at it. You take the case and open it. It's full of tiny drivers. The heads are bizarre and strange shapes. Your mind whirls. What wondrous secret purpose must these tools be for? What tiny instrument were they complicit in the functioning of? What strange mystery have you stumbled upon? Your mind races as you consider the possibilities. Seriously though, it's just a set of tiny screwdrivers. You have no idea what they're for. And we get to check toolkit on our log sheet. And if it were me, I definitely would take the little tiny screwdrivers because there's all sorts of things that you need little tiny screwdrivers for now, like Ring doorbells. My gosh. Like, I ordered a Ring doorbell once, and I've used it for many years, but then there was a time when I actually needed to disassemble it. And in order to do that, you need a really tiny screwdriver. And I had no idea where the tiny screwdriver that came with it went. So I had to order another one on Amazon. It was like really annoying. All right, so we're back in the cabin, so we can go through the cupboard or rifle through the boxes. And I think the next thing to do is to definitely go through the cupboard. The cupboard hangs precariously from the dilapidated wall. It has a stressful forward tilt gripped by gravity. You see a few rusted nails securing it in place. You carefully open the doors. Within are two little shelves, both lined with videotapes. They're home tapes, like the ones Mark had, with white stickers on the front marked by black Sharpies. The tapes are all caked with moss and spiderwebs. So does that mean they don't work? Okay, well, we need to make a spot hidden roll to search through the tapes. So let's see what we get. Failure. Now, we can choose to push the roll here, and that allows us to roll a second time at a risk of our time searching being cut short. Our spot hidden is at 65. So we should conceivably be able to make that roll. Then again, my rolls have not been so great at all. But you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and do it. We're going to push the roll. And this time it was a success, so there we go. It worked out in the end. You notice an empty space in the row of tapes where one is missing. You reach out and take the tape next to it. It is a little less damaged than the rest. Maybe it will still work. The black marker title reads, "The Quiet in the Evening." You take the tape and tuck it away. All the videos have weird names. You note a few. The sun with the trees, hoping it erupts, the way she moves in the night, and the cry of the children. You narrow your eyes, anxiety rising, and gently close the cupboard door. We also get to mark the quiet in the evening on the log sheet. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and rifle through the boxes. The boxes are wet and caked with mildew. You open the flaps on the topmost box. The cloying smell of rot hits your nostrils as soon as you touch it. Inside is a pile of black clothing. You pull the first article out. The smell gets worse. The clothing is all long and hooded, and each is about the size of a bedsheet. This looks like something somebody would wear in one of Mark's stupid slasher films. Let's see, I think we're going to keep searching through it, just to be sure. You move the topmost box aside and open the next one down. This one has been more successfully protected from the elements. Inside is a collection of dirty glass jars, a long dagger in a leather sheath, and a handheld camcorder. Ooh, very interesting. So we have different things to look at. If it was me, I would definitely pick up the dagger first. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and pick up the dagger. The dagger is bigger than it first looked. The blade is about the length of your forearm. Then is it really a dagger at this point? Like, I feel like that would be a knife or a machete at best. You remove the leather sheath and look at the glistening steel. You see your reflection shadowed in the gloomy half-light staring back at you. The weight of the dagger feels good in your hand. You feel an urge to take it along with you. Oh, boy. Well, this is actually not what I was expecting. So we do get to mark razor sharp on our log, and we need to make an occult roll. And, well, we actually do have occult. It's at 5, and I always thought occult was one of those really obscure things that we would never roll on. All right, so here we go. Occult. Failure, of course. I mean, there's like less than a 5% chance of us actually making it. You see your distorted reflection in the dagger's blade. It makes you think of funhouse mirrors, like the ones at a tourist beach town you visited as a kid. You never liked it there. Wow, by the way, that one was like prompt number 360 something. So I had to scroll all the way down just to get there. And now I have to go all the way back up. Okay, so the other thing that I would consider doing is the camcorder. So we're going to go ahead and examine the camcorder. The chunky handheld recording device makes you shiver. Was this what filmed the video you watched last night? The device is maybe 4 or 5 years old, but it's decayed significantly. It must have been left here to rot right while it was brand new. And we're going to go ahead and push some buttons on the camcorder just to see if it works. Maybe there's a recording still on it. You press all the buttons on the camcorder, but nothing happens. The battery is almost certainly dead. You can feel something rattling around inside. Probably another tape. The eject button is jammed, though. We get to check tech support on the log sheet. And actually, we can remember the stuff about the screwdrivers. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go and grab those screwdrivers again. That's what the screwdrivers are for. You head back over to the cupboard, grab the screwdriver set, and turn the camcorder over. You try to dismantle it to get the tape out. And in order to do that, we need to make a mechanical repair check, which is only at 10 for us. So here we go. Oh, we were actually really close for that. 14 instead of a 10. So what I'm going to do instead, We have 60 luck, so I'm going to spend 4 of those luck points. I think I need to get under, right? So I'm going to spend 5 luck points to go ahead and turn that into a success. You fiddle for a while with the tiny screwdrivers. After a few false starts, you hear a click. Huzzah! The eject button pops back into place. You press it and the little analog mechanisms within release the tape. You remove the tape from the camcorder. Written on the side in black marker is, "The couple who came to the cabin." You immediately feel queasy, but your curiosity is piqued. You take the tape. And I think this is all that we're going to do here with the boxes. And so upon further inspection, we've kind of gone through everything. We've examined the cupboard, the bench, and the boxes, so it's time to leave the shed, especially after this queasy feeling that we've got. That's enough of that. You step out of the little shed and back into the forest. You wince in the harsh light of the sun and let your eyes adjust. You make your way back to the trail and continue your hike for about half an hour. Then you turn and head back home. Wow, I gotta say, this adventure is kind of really setting some stuff up, and I kind of really dig it. For it being a choose-your-own adventure, there's quite a lot of atmosphere here, and I really like that. I like the choices that we've made, although some of the choices have been really weird, but other than that, there's been a little bit of exploration. There isn't anything threatening just yet. I think we're still in that setup phase that you would see in most horror movies. And I think that when Alex gets back home, things are going to definitely ramp up. Especially since we've found that tape. And so what's on that tape? The couple who came to the cabin. Now, I got my suspicions, but I'm actually going to go ahead and leave the episode off here. And so there will be a part 2 of Alone Against the Static. So I hope to see you there. But for now, go watch something on Netflix. Don't waste your time with VHSs, because you know there's something's going to pop out. Ringu is going to come pop out, and next thing you know, you're dead. So yeah, don't do that. Go watch something. Go stream something. It's the safer option. Check back every other Thursday for a new episode of Table for One, a solo role-playing podcast. If you would like to support this podcast, please rate it or give it a thumbs up wherever you happen to be listening from. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, subscribe and be sure to leave a comment. Music and ambience was provided by Tabletop Audio.